I want y'all to imagine my first semester here at Southwestern. I was hired as an adjunct instructor to work with the first year experience program, which I'm super excited. I'm like, oh yes. Coming from a background of working with upper bound students who were usually the first generation, come from low income backgrounds. I was super excited to teach a whole course dedicated to them. I was given three courses. One of them was in person, one of them was remote with the PD100, and then a PD100A that was dedicated towards the CCAP courses at the high school. So I went in and I'm like, I'm going to teach them the same exact information, just in different, modules, like, or different structures for it, but pretty much the same information. We're going to talk about time management. We're going to talk about having a creator mindset or taking personal responsibility. Super excited. I get to my in-person class. The the vibe was really good. Everyone was excited. Everyone was throughout the course. I started seeing how they were bonding and building a community. So it was awesome. Then I get to my remote course, and the first day was actually good vibes. It was we had about two people who showed their face in person. The rest were, black screens, but it was okay because they were at least interacting. Then the second class came on, and I started noticing less interaction, more having to pull that information. We get about halfway through the course, and I'm seeing how much my in-person class is excelling, and I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. But my remote class, I got there and I'm realizing it's halfway through, and majority of the students have turned in zero materials. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I contacted the counselors because with the first year experience, they get a designated counselor, it's a peer mentor, it's supposed to provide encouragement and support. And I'm like, what's happening? And then I asked the students, I'm like, why did you take a remote course if you don't like remote? And they told me they had no other choice. So it turns out that there are just not that many offered in-person courses. It's probably about half-half. So the in-person classes get full really quickly while the remote courses do not. And I'm like, why? It doesn't seem like it's working. So I'm like, let me look actually after the course was done, let me look at the data and see if it's just me or what is it. So the first class, the in person, we had 30 students who started it, and retention it was 30, and then the success rate was 30. When I get to my looked at the data for the remote course, we started off with the same 30. Uh, the retention rate was 27, and the success rate was 17. So then I was like, yeah, there is definitely some differences in this course. And now if I was to show you a little bit more of the data, we're looking at the in-person course. The average grade is the average grade was a B. With doing the mode, it was definitely the twos represent a B grade. And then the median was pretty much the same. That middle B grade, with the standard deviation being pretty 8.6 of the differences. And then when it came to my remote course, the average grade, which was a 5, which represents an F, the average grade is about 60%. The interesting thing was the median was actually a high C. So that means I had a lot of A's and pretty much a lot of F's, which averaged it out to that high C. So those who did get it got it, but there was a good amount who didn't stay in the course or dropped it. And then the standard deviation was very huge; it was 37. So there was a clear differences. So what I would like to do now is to look into more courses for those who are doing in person versus remote. What are the differences? Are students being more successful in person besides just my PD100 or other courses as well? And then also looking to see what can we do about offering more in person? We can survey students to see what they want to see, because there seems like there is just so much more of a higher need for in person courses. Thank you.